Hey guys, I'm so thrilled that we got you all together.
Me too.
I mean, like literally like my favorite family on Broadway.
Aww.
Fun Home is closing. It's so
What?
so
Wait.
sad. I know.
Oh my
I know.
God. What?
And you know, of course
heard it
now.
here first.
Call my agent.
Of course, nowadays you do get a little time. You know, they usually announce something's closing, right? You've had a little time to sort of process this, but maybe that's actually more painful.
Well, it's a good thing and a difficult thing because it's hard to grieve for 12 weeks.
Right. And Michael's doing a countdown, and it's I can't stand it. It's like he always tells us how many shows we have left.
Oh my God.
And I'd like to stay ignorant of that.
So where are you all at? Like where are you at? And I know this show means so much to all of you. I've talked to all of you separately about this, and I know this is like such a special show. Beth, how are you feeling?
It's funny, I'm really conflicted about it. I've never been so conflicted about anything in my life because I really, really don't want it to close. I want it to go on in the world, and I want it to, it's been such a great thing to come to work every day and say, well, at least I'm doing this, in the world. But there's a time where my mind, like I can't grieve Bruce Bechtel for another 6 months. I can't do it because it is like my mind just needs to stop doing it. So it doesn't mean that every day when I go to do it, I don't do it fully and completely, and I do, and that's why it's like I need to stop doing this. I don't know what my life is going to be like looking at Fun Home as a thing that happened.
Right.
I just don't know how to frame that because for so many years in my life, it's that thing that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. How Facebook gives you those like memories.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks, Facebook. But like this morning, I woke up and it was like, oh, we're starting rehearsal at the Public 3 years ago. Today. So it was really like, oh my gosh. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a long journey, especially you two. You did like early reading, right?
Yeah, I mean, this fall it'll be, Facebook will tell me
tell you.
that it was 5 years ago we did the first reading of it.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about this show I feel like it's kind of shaped my life for the last 5 years. Every time we got together to do another reading or workshop or whatever, lab, it was when we parted, it was like, well, okay, we'll see you in 6 months, or, and it would always be percolating. It would always be the thing to look forward to down the road.
Yeah.
So the idea that on September 11th, we will have said goodbye and not be having another meet and greet in 6 months or 9 months or whatever, I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around that.
Yeah, I feel like I'm immediately going to want a reunion concert. Let's
We
book
should
the
start
reunion
planning
concert.
that now.
Yeah. Well, we've got the time.
Right, exactly.
Did you, when you did that early read, I know the show was completely different at that point. It was still sort of being formed.
There were some things there that you would recognize, but it was very different. Yeah, it was.
But did you see that it had the possibility to become such a thing in your life? I mean, was it that obvious that it would sort of?
Well, I knew it was something really special.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that, but
But to
never
run,
know what's going to
I mean-
happen. Sometimes really special things don't go anywhere.
Right,
because
exactly.
for whatever reason, people don't want to support it. But I knew it was really special, and I feel like it's absolutely gotten the life and the acclaim that it deserved.
Yeah. Tony Award, rave reviews, I mean, and audiences. I mean, and what's it been like watching more mainstream audiences coming into the theater, like since the Tony? I know when something wins the Tony, people just go, whatever won the Tony, I want to see that.
Yeah.
So what's it been like playing for those people?
Well, that's been, I think in some ways, that's the most gratifying thing because it's wonderful to, preach to the choir. And so that feeling of bringing an audience around, an audience that was not planning to have this experience today, perhaps, but to find them, in some cases, and maybe most cases, standing up more eagerly at the end than the other audiences who already knew they were going to love it, because there's that sort of like, I had no idea what I was coming into, and now this is the most extraordinary thing I've ever been through in the theater. Like, that's the response we hear from those audiences, and you kind of feel like those are the people who are going to take what they've experienced there back home to their communities and back home to people, and it's going to change even more for those people, and that's really gratifying, I think.
Is it hard though when you care so much about the message of a show? It almost, because like you said, like the sort of the exhaustion of it, it's almost like this responsibility. And sometimes maybe it's easier just to do a show where it's just a fun show that you don't have to sort of take it home with you.
I'd love to find out what that's like. We don't seem to be those kinds
I
of
find it
people.
though a joyful experience.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, these characters go through a lot,
Yeah.
it's such at the curtain call, seeing people's response and that they've had a real experience, you know, not just like, oh, that was a good show, but like, I mean, I've had people at the curtain call look at me and go, and that is joyful to me. That's like a real connection, you know. So it's why we do this.
Yeah.
And so I take that home with me, you know.
Yeah. Beth, what's the backstage life of Fun Home like? I know it is a great sort of group of people, and you all seem to get along marvelously, as
It's
far as I can tell.
fantastic. You know, it's the best place on earth, I would have to say. And every time like Sam Gold comes to visit, I'm like, yes, it is the best place on earth. You're not just, it's not just like this today. It's every day. It's
Always.
just the best place on earth. It's crazy. You know, we have kids, first of all, and they're all, each of them are uniquely joyful and genius children, and they bring a lot of like just silly like buoyancy to the atmosphere. But then you've got, you know, all the 20-somethings down the hallway, and then Jim Stanek, who's like a heart with legs, and so
And candy.
you know what I mean, and a
lot
bunch
of
of candy and toys, and then you know you've got Roberta sitting there with her shirt off, and which is, you know, it always makes me happy. And lots of just craziness. We have a dance party. We got Joelle Perez, who's just genius
Non-stop
and
entertainment.
non-stop. It's just
We have a lot of unique individuals
Yes.
who like to have fun.
It's like
So we all have
And we've
fun.
got the bar in my room, so like,
Yes,
you
and
know,
the bar
there's
in
like-
Michael's room. We have dance parties in the hallway.
Yes.
Nice.
It is like one of those like laugh-in doors. Like every door you open is like wahaha. It's really fun.
I know some of the obvious milestone days, you know, opening nights and Tony night and all these sort of great nights in the story. But what were some great days in the Fun Home sort of family that maybe I don't know about, or any sort of like memories
There
or
are
moments
so
with this group
many.
of people that.
Well, like when somebody books a big job that is outside of it, that's really exciting for us. Or when one of the kids turns a big age, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
things like that. It's very family-like. It's like we've been together so long and in such a million kinds of ways that the milestones become more like family milestones, like normal things.
Yeah, Beth is my show wife. We're roommates. And I can come into work and just download about my day.
And I'm like, okay, so what's this is, and I keep track of all the details. And when are you ever going to have another show wife? Ever? Never.
You will be my only show wife forever.
Her husband is my sister wife. It's complicated.
Okay, but you-
Are you growing your hair out?
It's such a spoiler. Once you have had this hair, it's like, oh God, there's like no way to have a bad hair day, except for I might be having one today.
You can get some wigs, and then you can sport lots of different looks.
Yeah, the king of wigs, the queen of
King of
wigs.
wigs.
I
I don't know.
I'll teach you.
I need to have enough hair to attach a wig to. Like, there's not even
Hello?
I don't know how you do it, but you don't have to do like cartwheels and shit.
so is the hope that you guys get to sort of cross career paths again in the future? Do you have any
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
We're trying to
ideas
create
or-
reasons to have to work together again. We're like, what do you want to do? You want to do this? Want to do that?
And then what about vacations? Like, what do you do at the end of a run like this? And I mean, is there relaxation?
There's retirement.
Yes.
Are you actually retiring? You have sort of indicated that this is
I
like
keep
I know
saying that.
somebody
pinnacle
said
of
to
your
Someone's
me,
going to
career.
take me seriously.
I thought something about retiring, and I was like, I'm not retiring, at least not voluntarily.
I'm thrilled the show brought you back to Broadway. I mean, I've been a fan of yours forever, and
Oh,
it's been
you're
so great
sweet.
to see
Well,
you doing this.
I'm thrilled about that too.
Yeah.
Hopefully something else will again.
Yeah, let's get the next one in the books. But so you are retiring, or you're not? What? Is this the last time we'll ever see you on camera?
I'll be behind the camera. I'll be like running the
okay.
camera. No, I don't know I don't have anything, you know, ahead of me right now, which I know we're not supposed to say. But
I got
you know,
nothing.
But I got nothing. I think, you know, it's difficult because the bar is so high now, especially for another musical theater project,
Right.
especially, or theater project in general, because, you know, this for me has been like a career-defining thing. Like I feel like
Yeah.
everything I did, we talked about this, I think, a long time ago before a lot of other stuff had happened, that it has felt like everything I've learned and everything I did was somehow teaching me the stuff I needed to be able to do this particular job. So what you do next, is kind of like, I think maybe like a Holiday on Ice or something, like something so completely far afield to not be tempted to compare it to this. Ask me in a month when I'm probably like, I'll do anything. But right now, that's what it feels like. So, I usually will like book a vacation for the day after and just get out of Dodge.
But instead, we're going to talk to the NYC LGBT Center the Tuesday after we close.
Which, that kind of feels like a good way to kind of honor what we've been doing.
I hope that it's a sign that in some ways this show and its impact and our involvement in it will kind of continue into the future.
Absolutely.
That beyond just the reunion concert, there'll be a way that we can keep engaging in the mission of this show in a way. I hope, anyway.
Actually, what's so funny? It's like the idea that like a kind of butch presentation lesbian protagonist is such an audacious thing to do never really occurred to me throughout the whole process of rehearsing it. Only when it had happened and everyone came out of the woodwork to say how crazy unusual it was, I was like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm sort of I'm sort of like not surprised, and I feel, of course, this story deserves to be told. It shined a light on my own homophobia of my own self, and in a way that has been transformative for me, and for everyone else who has seen it. And I talked to this girl in the line the other day who was like on the verge of tears, saying thank you, and I was like, your story deserves to be told, just like anyone else's, and don't ever feel like it doesn't, and live your life out loud, live your life visible, and that is the way you will also be a beacon for somebody else.
Everyone can have that experience from whatever their perspective is.
Right.
It's as groundbreaking as it is, especially in terms of having a lesbian protagonist.
Specific identity, but it's not specific. It turns out to be the more specific it is, the more.
That's true.
Yeah,
I think that's true of art in general. The more specific something is, the more universal it becomes. And I think that's the beauty of the way this story is being told. And it's not trying to tell you, it's not trying to give you a message. It's not trying to tell you what to think. It's just saying to you, look at these people's lives and take from it what you will.
I mean, these are really special performances, and this is a really special show. And there are very few performances that will live on, and I really feel like people are going to be talking about this show, your performances, and what this show did for forever. I mean, it really is a part of Broadway history, and it's really special to get to talk to you guys and to help you through this very difficult time.
we need it. Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what's next. And I look forward to all the great future things. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Supporting